So, hi Taurus, my name is Chris and this is your beautiful reading for January 2026. And I'm a little tired, I'm a little sleepy, but I just thought I'd do my reading and your reading for January 2026. There's a Strength card. Not trying to force things, right? Not trying to oppose things, not trying to fight things. The story about the Strength card is really, there's this lady and the lion, right? So if the lady fights the lion, the lady wins. The lady wins, no, the lady loses actually. And the lion wins, because it's a freaking lion, right? So the best way to go is to tame the lion. So the lion can represent fire energy, can represent some wild aspect, rage, anger, frustration, strong emotions, right? Can also represent passion, sexual energy even, but most likely something powerful, ferocious, right? So what aspect in yourself is there that you need to tame or can tame? There's this king of discernment, the philosopher king, the king of swords. So you know your stuff, right? The king of swords is also the butterfly king. So, the first thing when you encounter something that triggers you, when you encounter some aggression or some opposition or whatever, the first instinct is to go against it, right? It's like this Chinese finger trap where you want to get free and you apply a lot of strength and push apart. But the more you push apart, the tighter it gets, right? So the secret here in January 26 actually is to not to struggle, not to fight, not to hustle, not to do more and be more serious, but to release, right? To release the tension. And that's your discernment, that's your wisdom that you apply. The King of Swords is applying what he has learned. And be yourself a friend, right? Don't fight lions, right? There's the King of Swords. That's a powerful combination. A Strength card, King of Swords, King of Wands. That's pretty much exactly what I talked about. The King of Wands is working with his passion, but in a constructive way. So do not fight antagonistic tendencies, do not fight the lion, do not fight, things that you can't change, basically. You need a lot of discernment and wisdom for that, and you apply that. And use your fire energy. That's the King of Wands here. Use your fire, your passion. There are two aspects, I say this again and again, two ways in which you can use passion, Passion is either what you're willing to suffer for. That's definitely this version where you fight the lion, then you will suffer, right? But if you stop fighting the lion and use your passion instead to create something, to make something, that's totally the King of Wands, right? So what are you passionate about? It might have something to do with what you're willing to fight for, but the advice for January would be not to fight, but to relax into it, to just do it, to just be happy with it, be creative with it, and express it in a non-aggressive, how do you say this, dramatic way, right? And there's your Ten of Pentacles. That's the crown of your reading. Wealth, abundance, and prosperity. That's the easy way to read this card, which is a nice way to read this card, right? Wealth, abundance, and prosperity. Who doesn't want that? But you're coming full circle with the 10, basically. And it's 2026, January 2026, and you should definitely check out the yearly reading that I'm doing. that I did actually already. I link it at the end of this video so you can watch it afterwards. So the entire year is a new circle, a new beginning, right? Fulfillment, completion. The last few years, the last several years probably, the energies were pretty antagonistic, pretty hard, you know. There was a lot of resistance to everything that we did, right? In general, as a collective, right? But it's getting much, much easier. And if you not fight what you cannot change, but use that passion to create, to use your discernment, your wisdom, and apply that. Strengths card, I mean, just that alone. 2 Kings, the Strengths card, and the 10 of Pentacles, right? That's a good reading. That's a pretty good reading. So you're making something out of it, and you know how sorry, you know how to do it. And it's not hustling. It's not hustling, bustling. No, it's easing into it, accepting what you can't change, work with what you've got. You planted a few seeds. And that's the past energy. And the past energy, these seedlings, they are blossoming, right? They are growing. They are becoming something. The seeds, and here's the fulfillment. So January is looking pretty good here. With whatever you have started in the recent past or in the past in general, there's something that is not, that just brings you joy, that is kind of connected to your passion and to your wisdom. Yeah. There is, let's just see, that was not a right shuffle. That was not a right shuffle. There's the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles. Yeah, working together with other people. And working together with other people on eye level. You know, not as a clerk, not as a subservient person, not as a slave or whatever, and not as a pet or something, right? But on the same level. Everybody brings his, her own skill, unique skills. And, you know, one is having, you know, they're building a cathedral here. So something big, something magnificent, right? Something beautiful. Something that none of these people could build by themselves, right? And that's the magic and beauty of it all. You're coming together with people who are contributing to something that is way bigger than anything they could do alone. And that is great, right? So you're going to meet these people, and with the Strengths card and King of Discernment, it's the Philosopher King and the King of your passion. It's all about taking action, not just analyzing something in, you know, you're not thinking about stuff, you thought about stuff, right? But you already came to a conclusion. And what have you learned in the last few years? You can really say in the last few years, what have you learned about the world, your intellect, your mind? What have you learned about your passion, about how your inner workings work? What are you passionate about? You know, and then make the decision not to choose that aspect of your passion where you suffer, but choose that aspect of your passion where you can create, and I would say co-create with others on the same level. That's beautiful. There's the Star card, wish fulfilled from the universe. You get what you wanted, right? And the Star card, I must say this because it's just how it is. When you get what you want, when you have a wish fulfilled from the universe, when the universe is giving you something, there are new challenges coming with that. So you're starting a new circle. In 2026, we're all starting a new circle. And thank God for that, because the last circle was pretty, you know, intense, right? Think about the last few years. Very easy peasy lemon squeezy for you, or were they kind of a little challenging? I think they might most likely have been a little challenging. So you're showing up as the wounded warrior in the outside position, so you took a beating. Maybe you took a beating. Something didn't went so well. You were injured. But the story about the 9 of Wands here in the outside position is that your wounds are actually healed. The physical wounds at least, right? But they're still, you're still holding on to it. You're not expressing, you know exactly, you're expressing your creativity, your passion, and you know what it is, and you know how to express it and how to work with it. But the 9 of Wands in the outside position means that to the outside world, you're holding this back because, there are a lot of lions in this world, right? And you don't fight the lions. And if you don't fight the lions, you can come out of your shell and meet other people, because you have to meet these other people. 3 of Pentacles, to create something so much bigger and more beautiful than anything that you could create on your own. Yeah, there it is, It showed up before, but I didn't, when I shuffled the cards, I can't really explain how I do this, but there's a moment when it feels right to pick a card, and I did that prematurely when I picked the 3 of Swords before, and so I shuffled again and picked the 3 of Pentacles. But here the 3 of Swords shows up. Well, that's the wound of the wounded warrior, the broken heart. That's the underlying energy that needs healing and is in the process of healing. And the fulfillment of this healing seems to be to take everything that you have learned intellectually, to take everything that you're passionate about, and not make it about a fight, but make it about creation. Build something with other people. And there's the 3 of Cups. That's the crown of your ring and the outcome. The crown is the 10 of Pentacles. So this is going to happen, right? Very successful. So that is how it's going to happen. With other people. And happiness. There's joy, there's happiness. You're going to celebrate. Good people to celebrate with, good people to work with, and the absolute manifestation and fulfillment of whatever you want to create. But that's what you wanted, right? There is. We can say wealth, abundance, and prosperity. We can say that you're just immersing yourself in your own creation with other people, good people, and there's celebration and happiness and joy and lightheartedness. Can I say this? Because this is pretty heavy, right? Underneath that, there's the 8 of Swords. So you're coming from an energy of the broken heart, basically, where you thought about something and realized something that was pretty hurtful, and how do you overcome this? Take what you've learned and concentrate on what you want to create. Build the new system. And it's really the new system because 2026 is the first year of a complete different frequency, or how do I say this? It's a kind of new paradigm, really. It's a complete different frequency. Humanity kind of gets an update, consciousness-wise, and everything is aligned for this. And the last few years were pretty much a testing. You can see it like this. The old energies were pretty much running amok. That was what was happening. The old system was kind of, systems want to recreate and continue themselves. That's just how they work. You know, a system is continuing itself. And if you change a system, the old aspects of how the old system works want to continue the old system, of course. So there was a lot of tension and resistance to everything that we did. We did, and I mean this consciousness that is expressing the new system, the upgraded system, the new way of life, the new way of being, not so much hustling, not taking everything so serious. There is lightheartedness in it, and this from past energy was very heavy energy. But you must allow it. You must trust it, and you must really set your own frequency and really make a conscious decision. Okay, what am I doing? Am I fighting the old again? You know, frustration, anger, rage. You might be justified in these expressions, emotions, right? And by the way, your emotions are always justified. You just feel what you feel. You can't change what you feel. That's ridiculous. That's not how it works. So first of all, you feel what you feel, and then you make a conscious decision. Do I want to stay in that frequency, and what can I do to make that? It's kind of an alchemistic process, really, to be mindful enough to know when your frequency is down there, guilt, fear, shame, anger, rage, and so on, and things like that, right? And then turn it around, really use this energy to create something, and not in a way to discipline yourself. Be yourself a friend. How would you talk to a friend if she would run against the wall or fight the lion, right? If you fight the lion, you can't win. So you do yourself a favor and co-create with these wonderful people. You have a vision for yourself, definitively, with the King of Swords and the King of Wands. You already planted your seeds, right? It's already done. They are already there. And in January, bam, there's the 10 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles to the 10 of Pentacles. And the next step, there are coming people in to co-create with and to really have a good time and celebrate. In your hopes and fears or potentials is the subconscious frequency, is the moon card. And that's pretty much, when I talk about mindfulness, you kind of have to work with your subconscious frequency and be mindful enough to realize when it's dropping, when it's going in a direction that is antagonistic, or how do I say this? When you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're down there, right? And to be mindful enough to realize that. To change that direction. And how do you do this? You can do, and that's what I recommend all the freaking time, do breath work. You breathe in 5 seconds, you breathe out 10 seconds. And it should be comfortable to do, you know, you shouldn't be totally exhausted and force yourself to do it. The last second when you breathe out, you should really push it out a little, but it should be doable. So you find a sweet spot, whether you do 5 seconds in, 10 seconds out. The most important thing is that you breathe in 1 and you breathe out 2. So 5 in, 10 out, or 10 in, 20 out, however, or 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out, something like that. Whatever you can do comfortably, and the last second of the out breath should be a little bit pushy. And then overall message here, okay, just to let you know that although it might sound like you have a lot to do, you actually don't. You got everything you need. Everything you need. There are the right people coming in. There's reason to celebrate. You learned the lesson with the Strengths card. That's the center of your reading. There is discernment and wisdom. There is mastership over your passion. There's fulfillment and manifestation. The universe on your side, a wish granted. And here's the quote for that. Give yourself more credit. You're doing the best you can. Cut yourself some slack. Well done. Well done. Okay. And that's the quote for the moon card. The neocortex is a garden. So what you think about, and not just what you think about, also what you feel and what you allow yourself to, well, you feel what you feel, but do not amplify, do not nurture, do not magnify negative emotions. And that's a practice in itself, mindfulness practice. The neocortex, that's the thinking aspect, is a garden. So that the ideas and thoughts that you have and that you nurture in your mind, you can actually nurture that, make a decision what path you want to, what plants you want to grow in your garden, right? There's the Seven of Pentacles, because these seedlings that you're planting either in your mind or in your heart, they're going to create something. So plant nothing but love. That's the advice. And when you meet other people, if it isn't a clear yes, then it is a clear no, right? When you meet other people, whether it's for free time, for friendship or whatever, or even romantically or work-related, career-related, if you don't feel good, you know, that's the moon card in your potential. Trust your gut feeling here. If it isn't a clear yes, then it is a clear no. And I'm doing a few clarifiers, but it's pretty straightforward. And the Strengths card, yeah, Seven of Wands. Standing your ground, not by fighting antagonistic energies, but by disengaging from them. To just don't feed them, don't give them energy. If you take the bait of a narcissist, she is going to be very happy, because she is going to take this energy from you, this attention, and run with it and just play with it. So you don't want to feed the lion, you want to tame the lion. There's the Sun card with the King of Swords. So that's the Philosopher King. So whatever you're creating here, whether it has something to do with your passion and your intellect. So maybe you're passionate about your intellect, or intellectual about your passion, I don't know, but you're making something out of it, and not to force it, but to have some playfulness. Yeah, that's the Page of Pentacles with the Seven of Pentacles. You get everything you need to do that. Just do there's work to do with the working on your passion, working with your passion. And when I say working with your passion, that means basically what you are creating here should be connected to your passion. There is the Empress, clarifying the Three of Pentacles. Mastership of yourself. That's the Empress, not showing up as the boss. That would be the Emperor. So you don't go to a place and take it over or command people or become the Emperor, so to speak. No, you're just showing up as the Empress, and that has nothing to do with gender. It's just the inner and the outer aspect, basically. The Empress is mastership over yourself, and primarily over yourself. So you're coming there as an equal, right? While the Emperor, the male aspect, is about domination and hierarchy. When you meet other people here, first of all, if it's not a clear yes, then it's a clear no, that's for sure. And come there as an equal, on eye level, on the same level, and not in a hierarchical structure. if that makes any sense to you. There's the Four of Wands with the Ten of Pentacles. When it happens, and it happens in January, some success, some manifestation, something that you built upon, that you worked for, is just going to happen. By all means, celebrate that. Have a good time. Give yourself more credit. You're doing the best you can. Cut yourself some slack. Celebrate that. There's the Star card clarifying, as clarified by the Page of Wands. And the Nine of Wands. Yeah, the Nine of Wands is clarified by the Eight of Cups, of course. Yeah, emotional baggage. Where's your emotional baggage? There's your emotional baggage in the past, underlying energy, a broken heart. Eight of Cups, clarifying the Nine of Wands. The wounded warrior needs to release frustration and anger and all that jazz that is connected to that, and move on and open up to the world, meet good people to celebrate, to work with. Happiness, joy in what it is that you're doing. Subconscious energy, the Moon card clarified by the Nine of Cups. Divine humble pride in what it is that you're doing. Not grandiosity or narcissistic grandiosity or something like that. But you're coming there as a fully integrated person. Empress energy. You're meeting equals on the same level. And what you're creating is coming from a place of divine humble pride and joy in what it is that you're doing while you're doing it. And the Three of Cups is clarified by the Knight of Cups. So maybe you're going to meet someone who's going to, when you meet people, they are just opening up new possibilities. Somebody knows someone, somebody knows something, and things are happening. Dreams are usually happening when you meet other people and you begin to co-create. Of course, if it's not a clear yes and it's a clear no, never argue with a fool. That's the bottom of the deck quote here, so to speak. By the way, bottom of the clarifier deck is the Hanged Man. Don't be stuck in that lower frequency. Take charge of your subconscious energy. That's the healing process. Be yourself a friend. It means that first of all, you just feel what you feel. If you have a broken heart underlying, then you cry when you need to cry. So, okay, then you cry when you need to cry. And you don't negate your own feelings. Do not ever negate your own feelings. That does not work. You can't torture yourself into happiness, and no one else can torture yourself into happiness. That's just not how it works, okay? Allow yourself to feel what you feel, but make the conscious decision, make the mindful decision not to stay there, not to give that more energy, When you have a feeling like the Three of Swords, that's kind of the lion, or could be the lion, whether it's feeling hurt or injured or whatever, emotionally injured. Work with that, accept it for what it is, and then try to do something to raise your frequency. For me, that's maybe doing a reading, right? And for you, that could be whatever you're creating here. But whatever you're creating here in 2026, it's no longer about, it's the old paradigm. It was all about what looks good on paper and what is the reasonable thing to do. Not anymore. The new paradigm, it needs to be connected to your passion, and there needs to be joy and happiness in it, right? So, Oracle deck, Blue Angel Oracle deck, Oracle card. And this shows up again and again in the yearly readings, in the January readings. The Lightship Earth, personal and planetary healing, yeah. The Earth is a living consciousness currently being flooded with higher vibrational energies. These very same energies are flowing through you. In being aware of this, you will be better able to integrate these new energies. Keep an open heart and mind, and you will see this time is a joyful one. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into the fear that exists. This is a time of personal and planetary healing. There is fear. The old system is not happy that it is getting updated or that it is changing. The system wants to continue itself. So there's a lot of frustration and anger coming from the inner workings of the old system, and they want you to be in the old system. The old system was working on guilt, fear, and shame. And the new system is working on abundance and on reciprocity, on joy and happiness and passion and, uplifting, on equality, on meeting on eye level. That's the new system. The old system was all about hierarchy and suppression and all that jazz, right? And no more, right? And to not take the bait of these toxic, narcissistic frequencies, which are guilt, fear, shame primarily. Not allowing yourself to go down there, even if you have a broken heart underlying. You heal that not by focusing on it and on fighting the old system, but you heal that by creating and co-creating the new system with good people. And you're going to meet them in 2026. It was probably pretty hard to meet them at all in time before, right? This is a time of personal and planetary healing. You and the Earth are moving towards higher states of awareness. Imagine the Earth in your mind's eye. Send love and light to everyone, to every living thing, every blade of grass, and every atom of light. Send yourself love, That's what it is, planetary healing, Lightship Earth. And that's pretty much all I got. I'm not even sure if we need another oracle card. Let's just see what comes up. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is wasted. Vulture Spirit. Not even that broken heart is wasted. Maybe that was necessary. As it sounds. But, when you jump to a higher level, there's a contraction before that. You go down a little and then you jump. And then you up there, right? But first you go down a little and then you jump. That's all I got. And if it resonates with you, share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And hopefully see you next time. Now, goodbye, my friend. Ciao.